Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana hobby guy. Today I'm making a napkin holder, a theme napkin holder for Thanksgiving. And I have a bunch of this red oak, this 7 millimeter red oak. And it really isn't red oak, it's really uh, MDF core. So there's just a very thin veneer of the red oak on top, but looks really nice. MDF is a great product. So I'm going to use a couple of pieces of this today to make this napkin holder. And I've started off by doing research. Let's jump into Lightburn and just get started with the video. I've done some research, and let me tell you, every manufacturer has got their own sizes apparently. So I went and measured after going through all this research here, I went and measured one of our napkins that we're going to be using for Thanksgiving. It turns out it's just 6 by 6. I think it was 12 by 18. I don't know, some weird size. But when it's folded, it's a 6 by 6. So I came up with these numbers right here that you see, 5.5 by 6. And that gives you a little wiggle room to, get the napkins in and out. So I started with this toolpath right here. And as you can see, it is 7 inches by 11 inches. And coincidentally, that is the size of this wood. So I'm going to use this as my toolpath. And I've already gotten started on the design over here. And I want to show you what I did here. It's really the most basic design that you can possibly do in Lightburn. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I have a lot of people that are new to lasers. So let's talk the basics. Let's get a basic project out of the way. You can follow along with this, or you can use this free template that I'll be putting in the description right below the video. So you can download the zip package and just get started if you like these sizes, or you can create your own. So let me show you what I did here. If I select this one here and take a look up at the top, you'll see it's 5.5 by 6 inches. So that's the size that I want. And then I want a slot to join the two pieces right here in the middle. And I've raised this up about 10 millimeters. And this slot, if we go into millimeters here, you'll see is 5.99 millimeters. And this MDF is actually 6.8. It's 7 millimeter nominal, so somewhere's around 7 millimeters is how that works. And this turned out to be 6.8 all the way around. So at least it was a good flat board. So what I did was, instead of going into kerf offset and all that kind of stuff, I just did a little math in my head. I know this laser, we're working today with the Lasermatic. So as you can see right there, that is the Lasermatic 20. And the Lasermatic 20 has about a 0.1 millimeter kerf on it. So I've up here in the height, I've taken into consideration 0.1 times 2. Okay. And that comes out to 0.2. I'm really good at math, by the way. And anyway, I've got that 0.2 and I want to add 0.6 to it. So I want this to be a really super tight fit. I don't want to have to use glue or anything else. And if you take a look over on my workbench, I'm ready for it. I've got that hammer over there that Patrick donated to the channel that's completely engraved from a fiber machine. And I've got my little mat there to keep my workbench from getting dirty. So I'm ready for it over there. I'm ready for it on the laser. Only thing I have to do is fire up the laser, fire up my smoke extraction. But before we do that, I want to show you, let me go ahead and group these back together. I want to show you how I made this. So we know that we wanted 5.5 by 6. So I came over here and I took a primitive, just a rectangle tool, and I just dragged something out over here, selected it, came up here, made sure that I was in inches over here. I came up here and I want it to be 5.5, press tab by 6, press enter, and there we go. So we basically have our whole project here. The next thing I wanted to do, if you look over here, I wanted to have that radius on the corners so that it just doesn't have sharp corners. So now if I hold Control, or if you're on a Mac command, holding Control brings up this little blue dot right here in the corner. See that? So hold down Control, grab that little blue dot, and just put a little radius on all four corners at one time. And there we go. That's pretty much the whole project over there. Now, I also wanted to have, I needed a spacer to go between these two. And if you look at this spacer over here, you'll see that it is 3 inches by 5 inches. So that's going to fit right into this slot right here and span these two pieces. So that's what's going to give us our span there and give the napkin holder its strength. On this one, let me ungroup this again, and you'll see I have my crazy math over there. So what I wound up with was actually 6 by 127 is what I wanted. So I wanted to make it shorter on either side. Let me go back to inches. You'll see it's 5 inches wide instead of 5.5, okay? And it's 6 millimeters high. So all I need to do is just grab another rectangle, draw something out over here, and we're going to come back to inches. We're going to make it 5 and press enter. And then we wanted to make the height on this 6. So I'll just do, we have to put this in millimeters first. I'm sorry. 6. There we go. So there's our slot for those two. And all I did was take this slot with that selected. I'm going to hold Shift, select this one. I'm going to align it to the bottom, just like that. Now that it's aligned to the bottom, I'll come back and select this one. And I'm just going to move it up 2 arrows. And I've got, if we want to take a look at that, over here in my units and grids, I've got my arrow set at 5 millimeters. It was 2 arrows. So we're going to select this one more time, move it down 1. There we go. So it's 10 millimeters up from the bottom. Now we have exactly what we have over here. And the only thing left to make, and I don't think I need to show this to you, is a 3 by 5 insert to go across these two panels. So there we go. That's everything all set up. We just duplicated it in just, I guess, under a minute. And now we're ready to run this job. So I'm going to just take this one now and group this back together. And you know what? I'm going to group it. And I'm not going to take a chance that I changed something here. So I'll delete that one. And then you only have to design one. Now I'm going to press Control and the letter D to make an exact copy of it. I'll use my arrow key to move that down. Now I know I have, without a doubt, 2 exact copies right there. And I am ready to run the job. Let me get the laser set up. Let me turn on my fume extractor and get ready to run this job. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got everything set up. The only thing I did was turn on the machine, focus it, drop the wood on the laser. And now we're going to go back into Lightburn real quick and deal with the settings. I know it's a little bit noisy in here, but I have to have that air extraction on because I'm in a closed room here and got to have it. So let's go back in Lightburn, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to move this up to the top left corner right here. And if you don't see all of these over here, well, just right click on this white space over here. That means that you have arrange on. I like to turn that off and put on arrange long so that I don't get drop down menus up here with the condensed menu. So now we've got that up in the top left corner. And the only thing we've got left to do is to bring our design in. So I'll select these two and of course set our settings. Bring these in here. What I'm going to do is make sure that this is still grouped, and it is. So I'm going to select this one. I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to select this one over here. And I'm going to come up here to arrange, and I'm going to go to distribute, and I'm going to move these vertically together, just like that. So that way we don't, we only have to cut through here once instead of twice. So the only thing that you want to make sure on your laser tab over here in your optimization settings, you want to make sure that you've got the remove overlapping lines set, and your distance 0.025 is good because they're docked up against each other. So that's perfect. So you want to make sure that this is on, okay? And that's it. So I am ready to run this job. I think I'm going to move this just a little bit further north, closer to the exhaust on the laser, and we are ready to run the job. So if I switch over to the laser now, I have moved the camera, try and get it in a better position so that you can see better. Oh, you know what? We do need to come back into Lightburn one more time. And the reason for that is our cuts and layers. And I didn't put a design on here, okay? Well, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. All right, so our cuts and layers, I've gone with 400 speed, 100 power with 4 passes. And I want to make sure that I cut cleanly through this. And I want to do it relatively quickly. That's why I went with 400. And because it's just going to reduce the charring. So we're going to do that. That's for the cut layer. Let's go ahead into the art library. And I've got my Thanksgiving graphics here already. I'm going to do this quickly. So here is my cooked turkey. I'm going to bring out my cooked turkey, and I'm going to bring out my happy turkey. These are hand drawn, by the way. And what I want to do is try and get them about the same size. And that looks pretty close to good right there. Bring this down just a little bit because I want them to look pretty decent on both sides. So I will be including these graphics and a couple of others embedded in the file here. So that'll give you something to work with. So now if I take and put this over here, you'll see it's too big. So what I'm going to do is hold shift and grab this one over here so that I have both of them selected and scale them down together so that I maintain that proportion. And now I can just select this one once again, hold down shift, select this outer line right here. And I don't think bullseye is not going to work. I got to move it up just a little bit. So I'll move it up 1 arrow, just like that. And I'll do the same thing on this one. So with that one selected, I'll hold shift, select this one. I'll bullseye those. And now I'll come over here and move this one up 1 arrow so that they're both about the same. And now all I have to do is set my layer for the black. Now, being that I did the black last, it's going to put the black down at the bottom. We don't want that. So I'm going to just click and drag this up one so that the red cut layer is on the bottom. And all I have to do now is go to my material library, going to MDF, engrave, expand that, 20 watt, click on the fill up here, click assign, and we now have our speed assigned to that layer. And I think I just might want to go a little bit faster on this. I'm going to bring this up to 20,000, I think should be good. And I'm going to use a 4% overscan. Remember, on a diode laser, you have to have the overscan. And I'm going to do the lines per inch at 275. So that all looks good right there. And I'm going to say, okay. I'm not going to do a line after fill on these just because they're complicated shapes. So I'm just going to do the engraving, and that's all. Now, the only thing I want to do is preview it because there is a graphic. I know it's not going to go off the edge, but you should always preview your work. And let me come to the laser, turn off cut selected graphics, preview the job, and you'll see there is the overscan. And the only thing we always want to make sure is that we don't go past this green line, which is the outline of our laser bed, the boundary, I'm sorry. So there we go. That looks good. And what's going to happen here is it's going to come around, and it shouldn't be cutting it out first. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's take a look. We've got the black up on top. Let's go into the optimization. Let's do order by layer up at the top. So we'll do order by layer, order by group, order by priority, and see if that fixes that. And it sure did. Okay, so it's going to do the engraving first. Then it's going to come back and do the cutout. And then we can move on to the second piece, and we'll be ready for the assembly. And just to make sure, we're just going to frame it. And as you can see, we've got a perfect frame. So I can just hit the start button and we'll get going. Here we go. And I will put this into fast forward so that you don't have to take the, whatever it is, 20 minutes. It's showing 20 minutes up here. So I'll fast forward this. We'll get this done in a couple minutes, and we'll come back and do the other side.
Guitar strumming and dance floor thumping, laser beams gonna keep you jumping, jambalaya simmering in the pot. Louisiana hobby guy, he's got the spot, building lasers, making them shine. Every project's gonna blow your mind. YouTube viewers getting real hype, watching the guy with his laser so bright from his workshop. He's got that glow, Zydeco beat's gonna make it flow. Well, YouTube viewers getting real hype, watching the guy with his laser so bright from his workshop. He's got that glow, Zydeco beat's gonna make it flow.
Okay, so we're all done. I'm going to go over and get that off the laser, switch material. All right, so before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and change the design in Lightburn. So I'm going to remove these two, take these off. I'm going to put this one on right there. And we should be ready to get this job started while I clean up this other project. And I'm going to show you some tips and tricks with that in just a moment. So here we go. We're going to start that job. And there it goes. And while that job is running, I'm going to take these two carefully that just came off the laser. I'm not going to test fit this one yet. Keeping my fingers crossed that this worked. What I'm going to do is first clean up the burnt edges, and I like the burnt edges. So some people are just going to take, you know, their sander and sand off the burnt edges. I happen to like them, so I'm going to keep them I'm going to show you a little trick now that I do that works well, that you can do too. So let me go over to the bench. Got to be careful how we handle these now too, because we don't want to get any fingerprints on them. So I've got my paper towel, and usually I use water, but my water bottle is empty, so I'm just going to use this cleaner today. So what I'm going to do is take and hold this over my garbage pail here. I'm going to spray this down the edges. I'm going to get it good and wet. And I'm going to let some of that drip off. And trying not to get any soot on the project, I'm going to just drag over the end like that. And there you can see quite a bit of soot came off right away. And I'm going to go around using a clean part of the paper towel each time and just get the rest of that soot off. And now at this point, I've got a nice clean project. So there is the project. I like the burnt edges, like I said, and now we should be able to run our hand over the soot, over the burnt edges, and not get any soot. So, okay, that's the first one.
Well, swampy vibes, how they go high, hold your flavor, gonna make it fly, guitar strong and dance floor bumping, laser beams gonna keep you jumping, jambalaya simmering in your pot, Louisiana hobby guy, he's got the spot, building lasers, making it shine, every project's gonna blow your mind. YouTube viewers getting real hype, watching the guy when his laser's so bright from his workshop. He's got that glow, zydeco beats gonna make it flow. Gonna make it flow.
All right, so we're all set. Let me go turn off that smoke extraction. And I've got my last piece off the laser. So now coming back over to me again. Here's what I did while that job was running. I put these together. There you can see. I just hammered them together, and it is a very tight fit. Now this will not come apart. No matter what you do, this is not going to come apart. This is a nice, tight, permanent fit. No glue or anything like that. So now I'm going to switch over to the other camera, and we will get started putting the final piece on. Okay, I'm at the other bench now. I hope you can hear me. So here are my two pieces here, and hopefully you can see that. Came out really nice. This turkey has almost a three-dimensional look to it. So I'm going to put this one face down like that. This one face up. You're going to get the corner lined up like that. put this one over here, put something on top of it, because I'm about to give it a pretty good hit with this hammer. So let's go. And there it goes. It just seated. So one side of it seated, the other side did not, which is what I was expecting. So I'm going to come on this side, and I'm going to seat this side now. And there we go. And that's it. You can hear by the sound that that's a good hard seat right there. And there is, let me switch back to the other camera now. There's some soot on here from the one that I used to hammer it with, because that was a scrap piece. Let me just wipe that off real quick. I tried to do this all in one take. So none of this was like scripted or anything like that. This is all one take, start to finish. And here is our finished product. And I think it came out really, really, let me cover my face. So that's the one side there. You can see that it's perfectly parallel, both of these. And there is the other side, our little happy face. And just a perfect little napkin holder. I can squeeze it and it barely moves. It is really, really tight put together. Now there are a couple of little more tricks. So I'm glad that you stuck around to this point, because you can, like I said, you can sand the burnt edges if you don't like them. I personally love burnt edges, so I'm going to leave them on. But the next step to do is to get some white vinegar and spray it on a cloth and go over these burnt edges with the white vinegar. And you can see my hand's clean. I'm running my fingers across the edge. Nothing's coming off. So it's already, pretty much ready to go. But there's a slight burnt smell to it. More than slight. And I find that the white vinegar takes that smell away. So wipe this down with white vinegar, and like I said, I'm doing this all at once. So I don't have the final product to show you, but next thing I'm going to do is take this next door and I'm going to clean it with the white vinegar, and then I'm going to spray a clear over it, and it's going to be absolutely perfect when it's finished. So there is the finished product. I think it came out great. I do want to mention that you do not want to make such a tight fit with just any type of wood, because this is MDF with a veneer. So what happens is the MDF is like a press board, and you're able to hammer this in super tight because it will compress, unlike wood. So that's why I went with, such a big variance in the thickness of this slot over here, because I knew that it would compress with a good shot with the hammer. But if you're using a piece of hardwood, you got to dial in, your kerf. Don't make it quite as tight as I've got it. Maybe use a little glue or something like that, because when you go to hammer the hardwood, what's going to happen is it's going to fracture it. It's going to make it split. So you don't want to do that. But final project, and all in just a couple minutes. Of course, it takes me a little extra time because I am, recording this video and working with the cameras and everything else. But these are hand-drawn graphics by me. I am going to include these graphics in the Lightburn file. I'm going to embed them in the file so that you can use them. I'm going to add a few more graphics in here as well, in case you want to make some other type of design with it, or you can use your own graphics, anything that you like. So make sure that you look down below the video. There's little ... more to expand the description. There'll be a direct link to the download for this file for you guys for free. So you just click that link, you'll get the zip package, unzip the package. there'll be the Lightburn file in there ready to go. I'm going to have 3 different Lightburn files in there. So depending on your laser, once you unzip the package, if you have a diode laser, it's going to depend on your origin. So you're going to see it's going to say bottom left origin, which would be, typically most diode lasers. You might have an X tool that would be the top left, or maybe a CO2 that's got the top left origin, or you may have a CO2 that's got the top right origin. All 3 files will be in there. Make sure you choose the right one based on the machine that you've got. Open that file up. You'll have this template, and you'll have the extra graphics. So, okay, I got it all done. Actual time is right at about 2 hours. So, but of course, there's a lot of cuts in between. But I do want to emphasize that this was all one take. I'd never done this particular file before. I just created it from scratch. So all one take, and I'm so thankful that I got my math right on this one and got a super tight fit. Was able to hammer it together, and I have something that's going to last a long, long time, a lot longer than the Chinese ones that we have now in the house. So this is a nice piece. What I'm going to do is change this template up. I'm going to make some now for, I think I'm going to do Christmas, and I'm going to do like Valentine's Day and Memorial Day. My wife decorates for all of these different holidays. So I think I'm going to just keep going, use up some more of that wood that I've got up there, or I should say MDF that I've got up there on the shelf, and get some of these made for a bunch of different holidays. So I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. This was a newbie beginner project, start to finish. And if you watched the entire video from start to finish, you saw a lot of the little hiccups along the way that might happen to you, along with how to fix them. So I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And as always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Bourbon in my hand, crawfish on the fire. It's a Louisiana hobby guy, never tie, got my laser engraver. Been making everything